Hi, welcome to a new video. You join me on a little walk along the canal, or as we know in the Midlands, the Cut. And basically this isn't my normal type of video about going out in the camper doing photography, even though I've got my camera with me. It's basically to talk about, I had an operation on my spine, which is an injection in your spine. It was a facet joint medial branch block. And what I want to talk about is what it is, what it does, and things like that. So I hope you stay with me for this little video. Well, before I start talking about actually what it is, how it's helped me and everything else, I mean, first of all, I've got to say I'm not a medical professional or anything else. This is my personal view of actually having this injection. I've had the nerves burnt away in my spine before as well. So it's just to explain how it actually is and how it has affected me. So, I mean, first of all, if you don't know me, I've got a spinal problem. I mean, for me, it's the lower part of the spine that's the main problem. Basically, it's deteriorating, like with anything, as we get older with arthritis and things like that. And the more you push yourself, well, unfortunately, with my job, I was cleaning out fish paws, which is what's caused this. It was very hard work. Basically, I've got this lower spine problem, which means for me, when I walk, you may see me always walking with a stick, basically, because I end up going like forward. I can't support my body properly, you know, any kind of distance. But I've also got a bulging disc in my neck as well. And then I've got my hands and knees riddled with arthritis. So yeah, like I always say, I'm falling apart and I'm on a lot of medication to help me with it. Well, a facet joint medial branch block is an injection into the nerve of the spine that supplies the small joints of the back, for me anyway, but you can have this done in the neck as well. Basically, it's an exploratory treatment. It's basically to find out if you've actually got facet joint syndrome. Now, your facet joints, from what I know, is the little bones that actually stick out, and you've got the nerves going up. And the idea of these kind of things is basically your nerves is like the wiring, in a sense, that transmits the signal from there up to your brain. If you stop that signal, then in theory your brain doesn't actually perceive the pain, so hopefully you don't get any pain. Now, they do say there's around about 7 out of 10 people it actually helps, and 3 out of 10 it actually doesn't. Because it's an exploratory, the idea is then to go on to the bit that I've had before, which is, I forgot it, I put the name on that to the screen, but basically it's kind of the same procedure, and it's just basically burning then away the nerves, because this is just an injection just to numb it, but the other bit then is burning away the nerves. So again, that pain signal doesn't thing, and then that lasts a lot longer, because this, it does only last, it depends on where you read and everything else. I mean, it can be anything from a few days up to 6, 7, 8 weeks, even more in some people. Now, the procedure is pretty quick. It's only around about 20 to 30 minutes. I mean, for me, I had to get to the hospital for 7 o'clock in the morning. You do have to have someone to actually take you there and actually bring you back and kind of stop with you for 24 hours. I'll explain about that a little bit later on. And as well, you can't have anything to eat. I think it was from 8 o'clock on the night, and you can only have water until 6 o'clock in the morning. I mean, luckily for me, when I got into the thing at like just before 7, after around about 10 minutes, I was then in just having like a pre-assessment, like my weight checked and bits and pieces. Do you know, I'm basically overweight. You wouldn't really believe me, according to my BMI. That's silly, isn't it? So I had the pre-assessment, then went back into the waiting room, then like around about 10 minutes later, again, I was then called into my gown, and then basically near enough into the operating theatre to lie down on my front. It was a bit awkward because of the height of me, just to try and get everything me lined up kind of thing. And basically it's done by X-ray, and what they actually do first of all is they inject you in the back with an anaesthetic to numb the area. I think for me that was around about 4 or 5 injections. You just felt that like a normal needle going in for taking blood and things like that. That wasn't too bad. And then the actual thing went in. Now, I think this was around about 2 or 3, it felt like, and it was a really weird feeling, because it was like a hard pressure, thin little thing just going straight in. It was, even though the area was numb, it was a little bit weird. It wasn't painful, it was just weird, that's all I can say. And then that's it. And she said, right, okay, you can get up now. And that was it. I mean, she straight away asked me, the consultant, do you feel any better? Well, I'd took my normal morphine and paracetamol and everything else that morning. And because I was the first one in, I was in a bit of pain, but I wasn't too bad. And because I'd been lying like on my front, with me, it's when I lie on my back, because I find if I go to sleep, I have to sleep on my side. But when I wake up, I always on my back, and then I can't get out. It takes me a good 10 minutes to like roll out of bed sometimes because of the pain. But because I was that way, I couldn't really tell. And then basically I was wheeled in to the recovery bit. So let me get up and we'll carry on a little bit, and then I'll explain a little bit more as we go again. But hey, again, this is the problem. I have to get up. Ow. Then in the recovery room, they just like check your blood pressure, make sure you're okay, offer you a drink and things like that. I mean, my blood pressure sometimes is a little bit low. I was slightly worried, but not too much. Did a few of that, and I was probably in there around about 15 minutes having a chat to the nurses and stuff like that. And then I was basically told I could just get dressed and go. Now the thing is like you are supposed to have someone actually collect you from like the waiting room. I'd got my brother arranging to actually collect me, but because I was early and I hadn't got my phone straight with me because it was in my bag, I literally was able just to go, and they just let me outside. Now, like I say, you're not supposed to drive because you've got the anaesthetic in you, and that does take around about 4 to 6 hours to wear off. So yeah, you're not supposed to drive. I mean, my brother actually picked me up to his, she's kind of on the way home, and then I did drive like the 10 minutes back because I actually felt fine. I mean, worst case, I was going to stop at my daughter's that night if I was really bad or was struggling anyway, but I really didn't need it. And then the next day anyway, my daughter was going to be coming round with my grandson. We'd arranged that anyway. And at that point, I didn't feel any different. I was just numb. I didn't really directly have any pain, like one side or the other at that point. Yeah, you are supposed to have someone stay with you for like 24 hours. Well, because I live on my own, like I say, I didn't have that. And because I felt fine, I didn't need to go to my daughter's. So I just went home and just relaxed for the rest of the day because, like I say, I was in and out really quick. The only thing is later on that day, I did start feeling a little bit more pain to the side that they hadn't done, and the other side was just a little bit, it just wasn't there, if you know what I mean. I didn't really have any problems that night. The next morning, and basically I could say I absolutely felt fine. I was still in a bit of pain on the one side, but not that much on the other. So I rang my daughter and said, well, you don't actually need to come round because, you know, I am absolutely fine. Well, my son-in-law was off that week anyway, and my daughter said, well, look, we was coming round anyway. So it was actually great. They came round with my grandson, and I was able to literally play with him a little bit more and get up off the floor sometimes. It was really nice. I mean, normally I pop round every week or so anyway. Fun, and my daughter comes round a few times, cost me a bit of fish and chips that night, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I appreciated them coming round and actually looking after me. Even though really I didn't need it. Now, you can get different side effects from this. I mean, the one main thing is you can get bruising in that area. Now, because I'd got like that big plaster on and the iodine stuff, because you can't have a shower for like 24 hours, but I didn't really have any bruising or anything like that. I didn't really have any reaction to it. That everybody else is going to be different. Again, this is just my experience. You can suffer different things because when you discharge, you're given a leaflet to explain if there's any problems and things like that. But basically, after my daughter went, I did the vacuuming because there was just a bit of mess on the floor because he'd had all the toys out, but it wasn't too bad. So I just vacuumed the living room. Now, like I say, you're not supposed to do anything heavy, which I'd planned for the next week, not to do that much, but I did the vacuuming, and yeah, the pain started to come back, but it was really weird because it was only the one side that they hadn't done. It was like the pain was there and it just stopped in the middle of my spine and there was nothing the other side. It was really weird. I felt really lopsided. Fast forward a few days, but I decided to service the camper, just changing the oil filter and things like that, which, you know, I did it over 2 days, bits at a time. Yes, bending over, it was hurting a little bit, but again, it was only on that one side. The thing is with this is to find out if it actually does help for you and for your spine and things like that. Now, for me, like I say, it did actually help in that respect for like that first week. You do get a follow-up appointment around about a month later to find out if it has actually worked and things like that. I mean, over the next few weeks, I did little bits and pieces and everything else, because I mean, my job normally is cleaning out fish pools. Well, this time of year, you can't actually do it. So basically, I don't really do it that much at the moment. It's doing things at home. For any regular viewers, really, I haven't done any YouTube videos for a while. I've just not been in the mood for it. I don't know why, but again, you know, I'm trying to do these. I've filmed a few other videos that will be coming out and things like that. Because again, I go away in my little camper on trips and everything else, but the weather's been terrible, isn't it? We've had absolutely horrendous rain or freezing temperatures. So I've not wanted to go away and visit places because I like the outdoors. So I want to be out and about. And when it's like, you know, 1 or 2 degrees, walking around around like a National Trust place, you don't really want to do it. So I haven't been doing that. But yeah, then I think it was around about 2.5 weeks after I had it done that then the pain came back with a vengeance. And I mean a vengeance. It wasn't just the side that they hadn't done, it was the side that they had done as well. And I mean, that was even more, it was thudding, it was really painful and everything else. So I did struggle for a few days. And I mean, I've talked about this in another video of mine, where basically if I can't do that much for a few days, I get a little bit down, get a little depressed. Getting out for photography is that. And again, because of the weather, I haven't, so I went down a little bit, but it did just then, like I say, just come back like a brick straight in the back of my back. I mean, normally mine is that both sides, it's always radiating out. I'm never out of pain. It's just painkillers try and ease it a little bit. The one thing is, like I say, this is exploratory to have the burning of the way of the nerves. And for me, it has worked. Now, the last time I had the burning away of the nerves, the problem is I was really bad for around about a week, where I couldn't even sleep on the bed. I had to sleep on the floor. It was horrible. I think it did last me around about 6 months, but the last time I had that was like 5-6 years ago or something. So I can't remember. This is why we're doing it again, to actually find out. I mean, like I say, because this is a diagnosis injection, so don't expect miracles from it and things like that. I mean, you've got to think at the end of the day, all they're actually doing, whether it's this or the burning away of the nerves, is basically just trying to stop the pain signals getting into your brain, which is what painkillers do anyway. But we know the amount of painkillers, well, sometimes if you've got chronic pain that you have to take, it's not good for your body. I mean, I'm on a lot of morphine and other bits and pieces, so it's not good for my body in the long run. So hopefully this will help out. So the one thing that I've had though is a little bit of a weird thing. It started I'm filming this around about 4 weeks after I've had it done. 1.5, 2 weeks ago maybe. I started having like funny pins and needles on my back. The only way I can describe it is if you've had like an itchy top or something like that, or you've changed your washing powder, it's literally going all the way from the side up around about 6 inches, 8 inches. It's a weird feeling. It's not a problem, it's just uncomfortable. I can't say that is actually to do with this, I don't know. It just could be because I do have eczema. If you are having a medial branch block, the thing is with these is they work with some people and then they don't work with others. For me, it's helped find out if I can have the burning away. The only thing is that could be 6-12 months away. Now, with me, like I say, they did mine, which was L3, 4 and 5, because you can only have it done one side or the other. So like with either the medial branch block or the burning away, what they do is they do the one side, and then round about a few months later, I think it's about 3 months later sometimes, is then they actually do the other side. Because you've got to remember, all they're doing is basically like numbing the nerves or burning away the nerves on the one side, because you've got nerves going down both sides. Like I've just said before, this isn't going to solve my problem. It's not going to make me miraculously be able to get out of bed every day properly, not walk with a stick and things like that. It's not going to help me in the long run. But it may be that I may be able to get a lot more work done this year, or go out more in the camper and things like that, because that's the thing, is I want to enjoy life. I'm only 52, and when I'm walking, like today, there was a couple, at least in their 80s, and they were walking a hell of a lot quicker than me. So it can be embarrassing sometimes, but I mean, I've talked about this, how mine actually affects me. So if you want to know about personally how it all affects me, I did a video on this, I'll link it in the description. But like I say, for me, it's not been too bad. I'm just giving you my personal experience on this, and yeah, it has helped me. So anyway, at the end of the day, I always waffle at the end of these videos because I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say, and I always forget what I'm trying to say. So hopefully I've remembered everything, because actually this is the second time I'm recording this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. And again, if you want to see more about me being out in the camper, I'm doing pond tips as well. I'm just doing photography stuff and everything else. Make sure you subscribe, because I just put these onto YouTube just for a bit of fun. I don't earn any money. I earn a few quid, and I mean literally a few quid. But at the end of the day, I do this for a bit of fun. So I like to bring people along with my journeys. Today, it's just been a walk along the cut, but hopefully in the next few weeks, when the weather's warmed up, I'm going to be out and about properly in the camper. So anyway, I'll see you in the next one. So bye for now. Bye.